Hey, this little slice of chaos right here is the Old Goat Garage. I'm the old goat. I have a friend who says that he thinks I need to have a YouTube channel. He thinks I've got something to say. I know some other people that would strongly disagree with that opinion. My own take is that I don't have all the answers, but I pretty much made all the mistakes. And there's some value in doing that and surviving to the grand old age of 66. I'll let you decide whether there's any value here for you or not. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to get some things out of my system, off my mind, off my heart. And I hope that in some way it's an encouragement, a compass heading, a blessing, a sense of camaraderie. And I invite you to comment all you like. I'll learn from that, I promise. Again, I don't have all the answers. But at the same time, I will tell you that I'm old enough and hard-headed enough, and I'm so self-taught in all the little different areas of life that I've intruded, that it's harder for me to change than it used to be. Because one thing leads to another, and you build one process on another process, and for long change is just a hard thing. But I'm willing. So at any rate, all that being said, I would like to make this brag that in spite of the chaos I was raised in and that I caused and that I experienced even into adulthood, I've resolved a few things. And I didn't do that by my intellect or my sterling character. I resolved some things because sometime around the age of 15, I acquired a conscience. Up till that point, life was chaotic enough that I didn't think I could afford to have a conscience. So I knew the list, right, wrong. But at the end of the day, I made decisions based on survival, convenience, what was most appealing to me, what offered the path of least resistance. Conscience changes that if you really listen to it, and I began to. And then additionally, and I hope you won't dismiss me when I say this, because I'm about to say something else that may pull you back in if this is distasteful to you. I experienced the empowerment of the Holy Spirit of God. I had pretty well decided I was a pretty crappy God. I'd messed my life up pretty stinking good. And one day I had this brilliant thought. I mean, intellectual superiority coming out of my feeble little gourd. I had the thought, I wonder if God would mess my life up any more than I have. And I wasn't sure of the answer. But I decided that maybe I would consider that for a while. And that's something I'm still considering. But I pretty well concluded, although I still try to be my own God, I pretty well concluded that he does a better job of it than I do. And I work out better as a number two, as maybe a first mate, maybe just a deck swabber. But at any rate, God has done some things in my life I couldn't have done for myself. Now, again, I know that'll probably turn a lot of people off. I don't think I'm a Bible thumper. I am a little bit of a student of the Bible. And I really don't think that anymore, for the most part, I'm a hellraiser. But I've got some experience at that too. What I strive to be now is orthodox. Now, there's a term we don't use every day. What it really technically means is to have the right glory, the right perspective, the right doctrine, the right teaching, the right view of what this world is all about. Most people who claim to be unorthodox are pretty churchy, pretty religious, and that just really doesn't fit me very well. I don't like that track. In fact, I was telling a friend about 5 minutes ago that there are three groups of people that I have an innate distrust for: lawyers, doctors, and preachers. And yet some people would accuse me of being one of those. So at any rate, I'm orthodox, but I'm unconventional. And a lot of what I find myself doing, and a big part of why I'm considering doing this YouTube channel, is that convention destroys people a lot of times, whether that's political, economic, religious, cultural. We need liberation. What we need is to be able to find out what we were genuinely created to be. And we need help with that. At least I did. And I know a lot of other people did too. The cool thing is, if your life is dysfunctional, as you begin to discover what that is, it's empowering, it's liberating. So at any rate, there'll be times when I kind of have essays and rants about culture, philosophy, religion, spirituality, and I'm going to give you a little tour here, just the chaos of this little place I've created for myself. Yeah, I had some help. This is my shop. I spend quite a bit of time here these days. I'm not really fully retired, but I've slowed down enough that I kind of get to pick and choose what I do, and one of the things I'm choosing to do is put a little bit of order into this mess. And from what I just showed you, you probably think, well, one of these days you need to get started. Well, I have started. I just haven't got very far. I've accumulated a lot of tools, a lot of things for the various pursuits I've had over the years, and we'll probably get into that some other time. But for the last several years, I was a heating, air, and plumbing contractor primarily. However, probably the more significant thing I did, I like to say that contracting kind of supported my counseling habit. And I'm using that term counseling very broadly. That counseling mostly means working with dysfunctional people. I get them because I are one. One of the forms of that endeavor in my life has been to adopt some kids, have a couple bio kids, have 3 adopted kids, I've had a bunch of foster kids, some of whom I'm still in contact with. Some of them still like me, some of them don't. I was a CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate, for a while. Some places, some states, they call that a guardian ad litem. They're not necessarily exactly the same thing, but pretty close. So at any rate, my main pursuit, even though it hasn't provided much money because I didn't pursue it for money, my main pursuit really has been to try to take some of that resolution that I experienced in my own life and walk in such a way that somebody could maybe step in some of my footsteps. Nobody wants to step in all my footsteps. They would be foolish to do so, because I've had a lot of missteps. You know, people talk sometimes about 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. Well, the course of my life has been, at times, 1 step forward, 3 steps backward, and it's a lot easier to go backward than it is forward. So at any rate, that's kind of what I got going on here. If you find this intriguing, I would like to think that you're not going to get a rehash of what somebody else is doing. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll find some pigeonhole that you think I fit perfectly in. That's going to hurt my feelings if you do. But I can live with it. There are enough people that think I know a little bit of something that I get a chance to talk every once in a while. And again, I have actually more than one friend who thinks that I might be useful in this media realm. We'll see. Even if it helps one person, that'll be enough. I kind of have my suspicions that I'll never gather a following big enough to monetize anything, but that's okay. Again, I didn't try to make money. Even in the trades where I was a contractor, my objective was to work enough, pay the bills, and have a little bit of flexibility to be engaged with people who are in need. I worked with homeless people at times. I've worked with people coming out of incarceration. And like everything else in my life, my formal training is pretty limited. I do have a little bit of formal training as a quote-unquote people helper, but in reality, my education came from the chaos I lived in as a little kid. And again, kind of the reversal of family history, family trends that just went on from generation to generation and generation, in some ways got worse generationally. I have to blame God for whatever success I have there, because again, up till about the age of 15, I was on a pretty self-destructive path as I tried to cut my own course, liberate myself from all the oppression of my dysfunctional parents, Funny thing is, in a lot of ways, some people say, well, you became a dysfunctional parent, so you missed something somewhere. And the people who would say that are right. And some of those people are my kids. Some of my kids would say, yeah, you weren't perfect, Dad, but you did better than some dads did. So at any rate, I think I'll just about close this out, but we may get into some things. I love teaching kind of an organic style of teaching. Again, I don't have much formal training in any of the disciplines that I have been involved with, save maybe one. I actually have a degree, but I don't talk about it much. And I made $80 with it in the last 25 years or so. But didn't get an education to get money. And really, again, even there, so much of that education was kind of putting on paper and exploring the meaning of my history, both the dysfunction, the rescue that I've experienced, and the opportunity to use even the dysfunction that was in my own life, both self-imposed and externally imposed, to use that to be a help and encouragement to other people. So that's kind of what I'm about. And if we get into some weird projects, I've got a bunch of projects stacked up here at my ugly little shop. We'll probably get into some of that. Got a few things I'm proud of. Built this shop back in about 1995 with the help of primarily my two bio kids, and had a couple of friends and a brother who threw in some time on it as well. But this is my happy place now. It's the place where I come to, clean up a little bit, decompress, maybe detox a little bit. And it's been amazing over the years, the people that have wound up coming out here just to hang out and to commune. And I don't know if this medium will facilitate that kind of thing or not, but again, if it blesses one person, if it encourages, if it strengthens, if it gives direction, empowerment to one person, well, I'll probably stick at it for a while anyway. Till I get bored, I do that. I've changed careers a number of times. No regrets about that. It seems like one thing builds on another. And again, we'll get into that maybe more some other time. I wish you well. I hope you'll maybe consider the possibility. I'm going to invite you to come back. But if there's not something internal that says, maybe there's something to this old goat, move on and find something better. There's better out there, I'm sure. Wish you the best.